Can you imagine the world of Kenshi without war? It's like going to McDonald's and actually be satisfied after having your meal. Unfathomable. But today we're going to change that. Not with the power of war, no, but as true pacifists. I mean, kidnapping isn't technically violence, right? We will organize the Great Kenshi Peace Summit and invite 8 of the most influential faction leaders to participate. And let me tell you, they won't be declining this invitation. For all this to work, we need to turn Beep into the most stealthy bro in Kenshi, ensure the safe capture and transport of all faction leaders, and provide them with proper accommodations upon arrival. But first, we're still kinda stuck in here. Rebirth is a lovely place where the Holy Nation sends all of its slaves to undergo the process of rebirth, which in reality just means working themselves to death in the mines under the watchful gaze of a towering statue of Okran, the Holy Nation's patron deity. Sounds like a holiday to me. The area is heavily guarded, but in between the grueling mining shifts and the occasional beatings, Beep found plenty of time to devise a plan to enforce world peace. Every night, the slaves of Rebirth are forced back into their cells. We used this routine to our advantage and started practicing lockpicking on our shackles and the cage door. I broke free from the cage and got caught by the Holy Nation paladins. I quickly tried to get back into the cage to avoid any further beatings, and that only partially worked out the way I wanted. I kept practicing my lockpicking skill, unlocking my cage and hopping into the next one, rinse and repeat, until it was time to get back to the endless mining grind. Hail Okran. I was sent close to the exit, so I thought I'd try a cheeky little early escape. But yeah. We're going to have to train our stealth a lot more before we can escape this place. The next night they tied me to a pole outside and I continued my lockpicking training, both on myself and on other nearby slaves. This idea kinda sucked. The slaves I set free started following me, and let me tell you, they were just not as stealthy as I had hoped. I figured that leveling my stealth skill was going to be the most important focus for now. So I crept away in some sort of safe corner in Rebirth, where I skulked around a bit, slowly increasing my stealth level until I had to jump in the cage again to avoid getting cuffed. The next day I managed to get some good stealth experience by walking back and forth along a ridge in the mine, and not a lot of paladins were patrolling here. This doesn't look sus at all. Of course, eventually I did got caught and they brought me back to my cage. But by then, my skills were high enough to easily escape and I tiptoed around a bit, continuing to increase my stealth level. And by the 4th day, I was stealthy enough to start trying to knock guards out, slowly beginning to level up my assassination skill. I did this for a while and eventually I was skilled enough to consistently knock them down. I even threw some guards in prisoner cages, which was actually kinda funny. Whenever other paladins came by, they'd instantly turn their obviously recognizable colleagues into new slaves. Glad my recruitment skills could be of service. On the night of day 6, I was tied to one of the prisoner poles pretty close to the entrance, and I knew this was my chance. After unlocking myself, I freed my nearby slave colleagues, Z2 and Streak, to yeah, let's be honest, function as a distraction, after which we sneaked towards the front gate. I got in close to knock the guards down, but we kinda got caught, and we just bolted. Since I had only trained stealth skills and no athletics, this was kinda nerve-wracking. But it seemed like we were just fast enough to outrun the guards, and we made a run for the mountains. The guards apparently gave up, and once we were in the mountains, I realized that Streak also managed to escape, and he actually joined us. Welcome, bro. What? Using you as a distraction? Nah, why would you think that? Oh, look over there, a 3-eyed beak thing. We're free. But now what? Sure, we managed to escape Rebirth, but we're still stranded in the middle of the desert with no food, no skills, and no roof above our head. We need to find somewhere safe. I figured that Flats Lagoon would be one of the easiest towns to reach, where we'd be able to recover. But with our hunger levels running low, and Streak being badly injured, there was no way that we'd be able to make it all the way over there. I tried to grab some food by knocking out defenseless wanderers, which, you know, is okay since it's all part of the bigger plan for world peace. But sadly, they didn't have anything on them that was useful. The situation was starting to get desperate, until we stumbled across a Holy Nation farm. Beep and Streak hid in the mountains until nighttime, and Beep sneaked into the farm to look for some food and meds. He entered the warehouse, knocked out the only Holy Nation farmer inside, and began searching the chests for supplies. Found a decent stash of bread, bandages and other supplies. We also helped ourselves to a backpack from a random wandering drifter. Thanks, buddy. After patching up Streak, we filled our bellies and continued our journey to Flats Lagoon. This is a nice little tech hunter town with a few shops and a bar. Enough to rest for now, but sadly not enough to base down and further our plans for world peace. It only has small houses available, which are unable to fit the tier 2 research bench. We will need to research the guest rooms for the faction leaders. We took a little break in Flats Lagoon, but we quickly ran out of food and needed more money to keep ourselves fed. Fortunately, not far from here was the city of Morn, also a tech hunter town, just ripe for the picking. I felt a bit guilty robbing this place though, especially since the town clearly had seen better days, but hey, it's a small sacrifice for world peace. We sold the loot in Flats Lagoon and made about 4k coins, and it was finally time to head to our base of operations, Black Scratch, the biggest tech hunter city with larger buildings available. But first we took some time to speed level Beep's thieving skill, using some 100% intended game mechanics.
That's a lie.
Being the generous host that he is, Beep is going to take it upon himself to single-handedly carry the world leaders to the great peace talks. What a great guy! To build up strength to carry his guests around without being slowed down, he decided to carry Streak all the way through the desert. And there we are, Black Scratch, the home of the future Kenshi Peace Summit. Beep didn't waste any time and immediately bought the small shed that was available. And Streak started building the research bench to begin work on the prisoner cages. I mean the guest rooms, yeah. Meanwhile, Beep did some more thievery chaining. What? Shut up! This is how Kenshi is intended to be played. With cheese. Now we needed to buy the large building to fit the tier 2 research bench. Since the guys were out of money again, they headed to the nearby United Cities town of Brink to raid the local weapon shop. Using yet another 100% intended great Kenshi feature, Beep snuck in and stole from the chest. And then teleported the swords through the wall to Streak, who was waiting outside with his backpack. Oh, I love Kenshi and its features. The raid on the weapon shop was actually pretty crazy, but all of these weapons were still marked as stolen, which lowers the selling chance, and even risking us getting imprisoned for fencing the stolen goods. And this is where the third amazing intended Kenshi feature comes into play. The gear laundering crossbow locker. The concept is simple. Put an item marked as stolen in, and it comes out as brand new. And if you ask me why we can put just about anything in a locker that's only supposed to hold crossbows,
What you don't know can't hurt you.
this first haul got us to about 30k cats. Pretty sweet. We went back to Brink one more time to investigate the noble house that I spotted. And it seems we hit another jackpot. The chests over there were filled with all kinds of luxury goods. And I even managed to take out Lady Tsugi, who I guess is the United Cities noble who rules Brink, and we stole her weapon worth 10k. We went back to Black Scratch and after selling everything, except the sword, we managed to get about 40k cats. Finally having enough to afford the big building. Oh, I can't wait to lock those warlike suckers up in here. Anyway, Streak was ready to do a ton of research, and he started by researching a bench press for Beep, so he'd be able to train up those tiny ass biceps to be able to carry around our victims without losing any running speed. The following days were filled with Beep RPing Sam Sulek and Streak reading away at the new and improved level 2 research bench. And after days of training, it did pay off. Beep no longer lost any running speed while carrying someone. Oh boy, are we ready to kidnap some leaders. At least, that's what I thought. The moment we reached the Flotsam Ninja hideout to take on our first target, Leader Mole, we found out that we had exactly 0% chance of capturing her. That's not much. Time to grind some assassination levels. After grinding through knocking out copious amounts of towns of innocent people for what felt like 4 hours of my life, because in fact it was 4 hours of my life, Beep's assassination skill was up to 83, which felt like enough to be able to deal with our targets. So after helping Streak set up the guest rooms, we were all set for the big moment. It was finally time to summon the world leaders. To be able to achieve actual world peace, we need to kidnap the 8 most influential people from all over Kenshi. Our first target will be Mole, the leader of the rebellious Flotsam Ninjas, enemies of the Holy Nation. She's not the most influential, but good practice. As a second and third target, we're going after the Hive Queens. We'll also be capturing the Bugmaster, the crazy guy leading a pack of spiders. And after that we will move on to the leaders of the biggest factions. The oppressive Holy Lord Phoenix of the Holy Nation, the fierce Queen Asada of the Shek Empire, the filthy rich Emperor Tengu of the United Cities, and last but certainly not least, Ketlan, the Emperor of the long-forgotten Second Empire, who actually once ruled over all of Kenshi. Can you imagine a world where humans are ruled by AI robots? So for our first target, Mole, we ran all the way to the Flotsam village again and waited until nightfall. We snuck up to the barracks where Mole resides and still 0%. What? Even with an assassination skill of over 90 now? I sacrificed my girlfriend to Okran and he gifted me with special insights about how assassin's rags increase your assassination skills by a factor of 1.3. Conveniently, they are worn by the Flotsam ninjas. So I knocked one out, replaced my ninja rags with assassin rags, and boom. We have Mole. After almost getting mounted crossbowed in the back, we returned to the base in Black Scratch with our first subject for the peace talks, ready for her new accommodation. At least it's better than the hellhole you came from. Next up was the Western Hive Queen. After almost rage quitting because I couldn't find the right fucking island, I finally found the hive and Beep headed inside. The queen was just chilling in the corner of her throne room, inside one of the hives, and... what? She's considered a robot? And she also has some tinkered together machine womb? I'm not sure this is some hive lore I'm wanting to get into. Or do I? Anyway, we had a 100% knockout rate. So, let's go. After caging her up next to Mole, we headed to the Southern Hive, situated in the middle of the Royal Valley. I've never actually been to this place before, but oh man, it's beautiful. Well, compared to the rest of Kenshi it is. Yes, I'm also talking about you, Hub. Filthy place. Blah. I was once again patiently waiting for nighttime to sneak in, when I saw this guy skulking around. What the frick are you, bro? You look like an Elden Ring boss from Wish. I'm kinda scared now, to be honest. He's freaking fast. Faster than I am. The queen of this hive had a huge bodyguard guarding her, but he was kind enough to purposely look the other way when I KO'd her. Thanks, buddy. Once again, I managed to get out without being spotted. Welcome to the club. The Bugmaster was a little less pleasant. He lives over here in Arak and he's considered some kind of enemy of the state for the Shek people. He lives in his tower surrounded by insane amounts of skin and blood spiders. Thanks game for reigniting my arachnophobia. I managed to sneak past these friggin' things and luckily they seem to be blind. And I went to knock out the Bugmaster. And holy beak thing. He has 100k cats on him? What a guy. What's wrong with the freaking chest full of human teeth and a map showing the location of Catlawn? This guy is weird. Anyway, time to add him to the collection. Gotta catch them all. With 4 out of the 8 guests ready for the Kenshi Global Peace Talks, it's time to gather the big shots. First, the Holy Lord Phoenix. He is situated in the city of Bad Teeth. We arrived at the break of dawn and I had no patience left to wait for yet another freaking night. I quickly Naruto ran inside and kidnapped the Holy Lord Phoenix with ease. Thanks to his apparently blind paladins. We put him in a cage next to the rest. And this is where I realized that I also have to feed my honored guests. Whoops. Next up, Asada, the stone golem, the leader of the Shek. She lives in Atmak, the Shek capital. Yeah, I just captured her in broad daylight. And I did the same with Emperor Tengu. What do you mean stealth is OP? By the way, just look at Tengu's katana. I've never seen this thing before, but you could buy 2 freaking houses for that money. With these 2 in the pocket, it's time for our very last target. The great ex-Emperor Catlawn of the Second Empire. He resides in the Ashlands, surrounded by his army of headless knights. I'm not gonna lie, I spent about 20 minutes to find out how to get to this guy. It appears that the true size of those domes opens up the moment you set foot in them. First dome is filled to the brim with his headless buddies. Fortunately for us, their headlessness makes them kinda blind. Who could have guessed? And I could just walk past them. And in the second tower, there he sat. Catlawn. Once a mighty emperor, now just an old rusty bucket hiding in his little dome. Come on, boy. We have a lot to talk about. And finally, Beep has managed to do it. We gathered the mighty 8. Time to let the Kenshi World Peace Conference begin. They're not saying anything. This is your chance, guys. This is the moment we've all been waiting for. Come on. Okay, this ain't working. Then there's only one way. Trial by blood. Streak, open the cages. Well, this is awkward. They just don't do anything at all. Well, silence means consent. So I guess we've established world peace. This is kind of underwhelming. I actually expected them to start fighting. Or at least have some kind of dialogue to each other. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Maybe this next video will actually climax. And as always, a special thanks to my patrons. You guys are great. See you guys next time. Bye.